It came to a discussion of who would be declared the winner of season 1. Pruitt says that Donald Trump was recorded using the N-word, a word that Trump himself once insisted is not even in his vocabulary. CNN has not verified the tape's existence, and I should note that Trump's campaign flatly denied these claims made by Pruitt, telling CNN, quote, "This is a completely fabricated and BS story that was already peddled in 2016. Nobody took it seriously then, and they won't now because it's fake news." Bill Pruitt joins me now for his first television interview since making these accusations in that Slate piece. And Bill, it's great to have you here. I want to talk about the NDA and the limits of it in a moment. But first, on that explosive allegation in this, can you just describe for viewers what you say you saw happen and what you heard from Donald Trump?
Sure. First of all, The Apprentice, which is 20 years old now, when it debuted, is a FCC-regulated game show. That means that the Federal Communications Commission regulated whether or not we could tell Trump who to fire and who to hire, okay? And in that, we had to strategically find a way to consult with this guy. He's very busy at the time. He's a quote-unquote billionaire, on how we would go about telling the story in the boardroom. So our showrunner wisely decided that we would record all of our conversations with Trump about what happened in the field, whether it was with the 2 finalists or all the other contestants appearing before him in the boardroom. We went about telling him the pluses and minuses of each character in a very balanced sort of way. We recorded all of these things. Kwame Jackson was known to do this. Bill Rancic would do that. And we shared that with him in equitable terms because we want it to feel like a horse race. We want these 2 people to seem like they're going to outmatch one another all the way through to the finish line. And it'll be basically eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Yeah.
And then Trump will make his decision on who he hires.
And so then you say it was in that discussion between those 2 contestants that you heard Trump say the N-word.
So basically, we're there, the producers, and Carolyn Kepscher and George Ross, who are the 2 advisors who work for Trump at the Trump Organization. And they're allowed a little bit more leeway because they work for Trump. So they get to say things that we can't say necessarily directly. And at one point, Carolyn Kepscher, who was the head of his hospitality unit and ran one of his golf clubs, sort of came outside herself and said, Kwame Jackson oversaw Omarosa, who was brought back onto the task and created all kinds of problems for herself and other people all along the season, but was great TV and was kept around for whatever reason. And for that, Carolyn Kepscher thought, well, Kwame deserves to be considered for how graceful he was in handling this. And we all sort of agreed, but it was tilting things in a direction that we didn't necessarily need it to go because we wanted to share an equitable story. And Trump seemed to have an issue with this idea all along. You could see him reacting and shaking his head, wobbling his head, grimacing, wincing, before he said, yeah, but would America buy then he said the N-word, winning. And I remember I was looking right at Carolyn when this was spoken, and she is a very pretty blonde woman whose skin went bright scarlet. And then I looked at Trump to see the reaction that he was giving, like it was some sort of joke, and he was still wincing and bobbing his head, and he was serious. And
wow.